It changed the course of history. 60 years ago tomorrow, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
A local historian says Kennedy's murder kicked off an era of mistrust between the public and government that still exists today. News 8's Adam Pinsker joins us live in the studio. And Adam, why are people still so captivated by JFK?
You know, it's in movies, books, podcasts. The late president is still reflected in our popular culture today. For years, many Americans refused to accept an official government commission's findings that Kennedy's assassin acted alone.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Youthful and charismatic, President John F. Kennedy inspired a new generation of Americans known today as the baby boomers.
John Kennedy and his family had offered a certain kind of hope and a vision of a different kind of America.
That vision was shattered on November 22nd, 1963, 60 years ago Wednesday, by an assassin's bullet.
President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Professor of history at IUPUI, Raymond Taberski, says most Americans who were alive on that day remember where they were and what they were doing when Kennedy was murdered.
It is one of the things that kicks off the era of conspiracy theories that we still live within.
In 1964, a bipartisan commission determined that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in killing the president, but there are still Americans back then and today who simply can't wrap their heads around the notion that one man could bring down a presidency.
Many people think that if Kennedy had lived, Kennedy would not have gotten the United States as deeply into Vietnam as America did go in. There would not have been a draft, so there are not protests. There's not perhaps the size of sort of the radical movements that took shape.
Kennedy's assassination also ushered in decades of skepticism and lack of faith some Americans feel about their government.
It's one of those defining moments that has become part of popular culture as much as anything else. Like, you can see references to it in every generation since the 1960s.
Kennedy supported legislation that eventually became the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that was passed after his assassination to ban discrimination based on race, color, or sex. Adam Pinsker, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.